Okay, hello and welcome everybody. Let's begin today's session. Today's session is mostly about planning for your finances. So we'll be talking about what finances you need to show to the university to get your I-20, and then eventually what finances do you need to basically show to the visa officer. I mean, when you attend your visa interview, what all do you need to be prepared for? And in general, what else do you need to do in terms of finances for paying for your masters? Okay. If you have any questions in between, just feel free to interrupt me and ask, or you can put them in the message box. I mean, you can type them in the messages and I'll take them up later. Okay. So, but I mean, if you have any questions that come along the way, just interrupt me, turn on your microphones, and you can ask them right then. Okay. Uh, so the first thing that you need to understand is that when you actually receive an admit, and in most cases, you when you this will happen when you receive an admit from a university, you decide to accept that admit in the sense that you decide that okay, this is the university I want to go to. You will have to show them what is known as funds that will basically cover 1 year of living and 1 year of tuition. Only then, once you show these funds, only then the university will issue you what is called as the I-20 document. Now, the I-20 document is the official document that is required by the university. That is required for by the visa officers to issue you a visa. So, unless you have an I-20, you can't attend a visa interview and you can't be actually granted a visa. And the universities will issue that I-20 only when you show them proof of funds, which will cover 1 year of tuition and 1 year of living cost as estimated by the university. Now, when universities do these calculations, right? So they don't really do this for every person individually or every program also individually. They will just say in general. If you look at the university's websites, or if you look at every university has a financial form, and what they will tell you is that this is our estimated cost of tuition and this is our estimated cost of living. Your actual program cost will be maybe slightly different from what they have estimated. I mean, I'm just talking about the tuition part at this moment, because the living cost is not something that you have to pay to the universities, but what the living cost is something that the universities estimate and give you. But even when it comes to the tuition part of it, most universities, what they do is they calculate 1 year cost as 80 cost of 18 credits. Some would even calculate it as cost of 24 credits. Now, depending on how many credits your program is, your tuition will actually be coming. You will have to do your calculation for your tuition based on that. For example, if the I-20 says that this is the cost of tuition and they do a 18 credit calculation. They do 18 credits because they estimate that you will take at least 9 credits in a semester. So based on that, they will do a calculation saying that the cost of tuition is, say, for 1 year is so and so. But if your program is a 30 credit program, or if your program is, say, a 27 credit program, your actual tuition will not be twice of that. So many times students get a little confused when they see the I-20 saying that the I-20 amount is showing to be very high, coming out to be very high. So will my tuition be actually double of this? Plus, actually, I-20 also includes the cost of living and books and all that, but that is an estimate. And generally, university estimates are a lot higher than what students actually spend. In general, universities estimate that cost of living would be somewhere around $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Uh, in reality, students spend anywhere between, say, I would say $800 to $1,000 a month. So on paper, the cost might appear to be very high. So don't get confused by that. If you have any questions at that point, also when you see the I-20 and you still have doubts about how the university calculate, just feel free to get in touch with me or Jyotsna, and we'll help you individually, understand what that I-20 amount is about. But having said that, whatever is the mentioned amount on the I-20 form, you will have to show proof of that for that amount. You can't go back to the university and say, I don't plan to live in your hostels, or I plan to live in shared accommodation with friends, so my cost will be actually lower than that. Or don't plan to take maybe, say if they do 24 calculation based on 24 credits in a year, you can't go and tell them that I plan to take only 18 credits in a year, so my actual living cost will be, my actual tuition will be lower than what you have estimated. So those things will not work. You just have to, because the department, the international students office will give you uh, a estimate. I mean, they will give you a form that you have to fill, and you have to show, and that form will mention the amount of funds that you have to show. Students who have already applied to San Jose State University, if some of you might have applied, you might have filled this form, or you might be in the process of filling this form right now, because San Jose State University is one of the few universities that actually requires the I-20 documents along with your application. All other universities will ask this after you have been given an admit. Only then they will send you the forms. If you have received an admit, you should have got these documents, or instructions for I-20 also. But San Jose requires it along with your application. I mean, they will not review your application until you send them these documents. So some of you might have an idea of what this I-20 form is, I-20 request form is. But if not, this is what the amount that you will have to show. Um, Now, the next thing that you need to understand is what can you show basically to, so these are the things that are generally accepted by the university in terms of funds. You can show bank balances, you can show money in fixed deposits, you can show money in PPF. Some universities may not accept PPF, so you can show it, but if they don't, then you will have to look at alternate arrangements, or you can show loan sanction letters. Now, it need not be only one of the things, it can be a combination of things. You can show part money in a bank, some money in fixed deposit. The funds need not be in one person's name also, it could be in multiple people's name, it could be in multiple bank accounts. See, this is actually, a very administrative process. And somebody in the admin department there, all they do is they check whether, okay, see, if, for example, if a university requires, has an I-20 amount of say $45,000, right? They might estimate that, $25,000 is the tuition for 1 year, and $20,000 is the living cost for 1 year, and the form will say that you have to show $45,000. All they do is verify whether the student has provided financial documents which are more than $45,000. They don't care whether, even if it is a $1 less, they will reject it. As long as it is equal to or more than that, they will accept. Showing more in no way is beneficial. It is no way harmful also. But it has to be at least $1, or maybe at least equal to or a dollar more than what it is, what the form says. So they don't go into the details of it, where did the money come from, whether that money is really yours, how long it has been in the account. All those things are not really, US universities don't care about all this. Other countries, if you're applying to UK and all that, they have rules that the money should be in the account for 28 days and all that, but US universities don't really care. US universities and US visa also don't care which bank it is in, right? There are no restrictions in terms of which bank or has the money. Any bank is accepted, and it can be in anybody's name, or it can, like I said, it can be in combination of a lot of people also. Although I would not recommend, some universities, just to reduce their paperwork, say that if you're providing, it should not be more than 3 sponsors, because then you might have to provide, like increase the amount of paperwork that they have to handle. Now it is all electronically, but at one point people had to actually send these in physical copies. So that's why they used to just restrict that, don't show funds in more than 3 sponsors' name. But many universities may not have that restriction. But even otherwise, I would still not recommend having more than 3 sponsors. Now,
Mr. J,
yeah, yeah,
can I interrupt?
sure, sure.
What do you mean by multiple persons? It can be of the family or other than the family also.
Actually, it can be anybody, but what happens is, see, what happens is, when you say family, if you can't establish a relationship, sometimes it becomes a little difficult. So, for example, if say someone is applying, right, and maybe it is in the
Okay.
father, there are some funds in the father's name, mother's name. Maybe one
Okay.
of your, let's assume a case where one of your friend has money, right?
Okay.
So in that case, what I would suggest is you can take money. Say, suppose you have to show 40 lakhs. Let's assume,
Okay.
right? You have say 10 lakhs,
Hmm.
and your friend has 30 lakhs in his account, right?
Okay.
Nowhere related. The friend is nowhere related to you, but
Hmm.
it's just a friend, and this person is willing to say that okay, I can give my bank a letter from my bank which says that there are funds 30 lakhs in my account. Now the thing is, what do you need from the bank is only a letter which will say that this is the balance in the account, right?
Okay.
So if your friend gives you that letter, and while filling up the university's financial form, you will have to put both the names, all the people. So you are showing 10 and your friend is showing 30. You would write your name as a sponsor. There you
Hmm.
write relationship as father. If it's a
Okay.
friend, you can write uncle, or if it's a woman, you can write auntie,
Okay.
kind of thing, and just end it there. So you don't have to go into the details of how this person is related. They won't be asking you questions. The surname is not the same and all those things. So of course,
No,
if you
but the person has to give some declaration or only
no, there is no
a bank.
declaration required. The university's
Okay.
financial form that you will have to fill will
Okay.
require all sponsors to sign it.
Acha.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this person will have to sign it. Now again,
Okay.
the good part, or the strange part about it is nobody verifies signatures, right?
Okay.
So for example, many times it so happens that your parents may not be living in India, or
Hmm.
they may not be in the same city that you are, kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So sometimes students feel that okay, my I can get my father's bank statement or my mother's bank letter, but my mother is not available physically to sign that form. So don't have to bother about it. Just write in sign for your mother. It may not be the
Hmm.
exact signature, or
Okay.
if it's whatever is your father's name, just write it as if you're signing it and send that form. They
Okay.
will not be looking at whether this is actually your father's signature or mother's signature or whoever it is. Of course, if they are
Okay.
available, just get their signature. But if not, don't worry too much about all these things.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So that is all is required, kind of thing. But in case you're showing a person who is not a parent or a grandparent, right? I
Hmm.
would suggest that you don't show only that person as the sponsor. So, for
Okay.
example, if in like coming back to your question, say suppose you have to show 40 lakhs, and your friend has 45 lakhs in the account. So don't
Agreed.
just show only your friend as a
Okay.
add one parent at least in the form, right? So
Okay.
even if you have 2 lakhs in the account,
Hmm.
get a letter from your bank saying that the balance is 2 lakhs. Maybe get a
Okay.
letter from your friend's bank which says that the balance is 45 lakhs, and
Okay.
show both. Write your name, parent's name as the first sponsor. Second name, you can write your friend's name as uncle.
Okay.
Because the reason I tell you is that when the universities will issue you an I-20, sometimes what happens is if it is a parent or a family that is basically there, they write funds from family. Okay. But if you're only, or say they will say funds from parents. But if you're only putting one person's name, and that you write as uncle, then sometimes the universities will mention that funds from so and so person, bracket mein they'll write uncle, and that is how it will show up on the I-20. Now, when it comes to the visas, the visa officer might question, "Ki, why is this person sponsoring you," and all those things, right? So, uh, if you're doing that, I would definitely recommend add a parent also, even if the funds in parents' name are very low. Even if it is like 50,000, just add that person's name on the form. Don't get it only in the name of a third person. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. J.
Yeah.
You can continue.
Yeah. And again, universities require only the first year funds. Okay. They don't require. One minute, I just got the call. Universities don't require funds for multiple years. Even if your program is a 2-year program or something, nobody is going to, university is definitely not going to ask you for funds for the second year, even at a later stage. So you don't have to show any. I mean, it's not that after you finish the second year, you have to show funds. The only time you might need funds to show for the second year, in case you are transferring universities after the first year. So anytime you transfer to a new university, you might have to show funds. But beyond that, you will never require to show the university any funds for the subsequent years of study if you are studying at the same university.
One,
Hmm.
can I come?
Yeah, yeah,
Hello?
sure.
Yes, sir. One supplementary question to this was the letter has to be submitted by the bank, or it should be in the dollars or what?
The money, it is preferable that the funds should be. I mean, you can, of course, your bank accounts, if they are in India, you will get the letter in the in what do you say, in rupees only. But in the letter itself, if the bank can write that if the balance in the account is so and so, and which is equivalent to so and so rupees. I had sent all of you these this document. I'll resend it maybe in one WhatsApp or something, so that you can have, which has samples of these bank letters that you can get. So that will give you an idea. Now some banks in
Okay.
India, na, they
And
generally
this letter, when should we get it? At the time of applying? The
no, at
date
the
of the
time of
letter I'm asking.
the bank letter, right?
Yes, yes.
See, the bank letters, almost all universities will ask you for this letter after you have been admitted. Okay, at the time of applying, they will not ask you this letter. Except
Okay.
San Jose State University is the only university that I can think of which asks you for this letter while applying. All
Okay.
universities will ask you for this letter after you have been given an admit. And requirement also is that this letter should not be more than 6 months old. In very few cases, they will say that this letter should not be more than 3 months old. So
Okay.
now I think would be a good. We are already in February. This letter you will probably be submitting to the universities anytime from now till maybe April, depending on when your admits come in, which one, maybe May. So right. So now if you have the funds in your account, or you already have received some admits, or you are expecting some admits, I would suggest you start working, or at least thinking about this letter. Maybe in the next 1 or 2 months, you will have to get this letter.
Okay.
If the funds are available now, you can just get that letter. There is nothing that letter will be valid for your whenever the time comes for April. Maybe if you receive an admit by March and you decide to send it at that point, you can get the letter today because it will still be valid.
Okay.
Okay. Now what happens is many times. So here is a trick that a hack which you can do. Sometimes universities will require say a letter of say 40 lakhs, right? Now universities don't have, like I said, you can get letter from multiple people in multiple names also, right? And it can be multiple accounts also. So and also the letters need not be on the same date. So many times what you can do is that, say suppose you have 10 lakhs with you in the bank account. Say in HDFC Bank you have 10 lakhs. You go to HDFC Bank and tell them I want a letter for 10 lakhs. They will give the letter. Once they give that letter, maybe you can transfer that same money to another bank. Say if you have a bank account, you or someone in the family, it can, I mean, maybe the student or a parent. I mean, if you're between the three of you, if you can transfer it to another person's name, you can go to the second, you can go to SBI now and tell them, I want a letter, a balance certificate is what you can tell them. I want a balance certificate that says that the balance in my account as of today is 10 lakhs. Once the money is in the account, they will give you that balance certificate. All banks will give you. Once you get that letter, probably you can again transfer it to maybe a third account that within the family. So that can also be one way of getting. So accordingly, if you transfer that same 10 lakhs 4 times, you can probably get 4 letters, and total would be around 40 lakhs, and that should take care of your requirement. Uh, in case you are planning to apply for a loan, at some point, I mean, if you're not planning to apply for a loan, then don't worry about this. But in case you know that you are planning to apply for a loan, you can, I would suggest, start the loan process also simultaneously. You can get a loan letter also, which will say that you have a sanction loan of, or an in principle sanction loan of so and so amount, and that letter can also work. In case you're not planning to get a loan, I would not recommend getting a loan just for this, because you might have to pay some money to basically get that loan sanction letter. Loan applications are free, but once you finalize, say you can always apply to 5 places, 6 places, but once you basically finalize on the university, then you will have to once you finalize on the university and once you finalize on the loan and you want the letter from the bank, they will charge you a processing fee. Okay, so if you're really not planning to get a loan, then don't worry about getting this loan letter. You can maybe just juggle your funds if you don't have them available in one place at this point.
जय सर, एक मिनट, shall I interrupt?
Yeah.
Yes. हाँ सर, solvency certificate जो हमें देना पड़ता है, solvency certificate, is it necessary? Solvency certificate?
No, solvency certificate is not required, and in most cases solvency certificate will not be accepted also.
Okay, so bank balance, that will be enough, no? Then
bank balance is only required, that is only accepted. So if you don't go after getting solvency certificates, CA statements, solvency certificates are all not required and not accepted also, so it will be just a waste of your efforts.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
sir, I had one question. Whatever proof we show as a accepted, whatever PPF, FD, would it be required to for us to send us pay the money of tuitions from the same source, or if I declare PPF and I pay it through bank or loan, will it be okay, or we have to ensure that we have to pay through the same source?
No, you don't have to pay through the same source. See, there are 3 things, and these 3 are mutually independent of each other. One is what you show to the university, right? So you can show bank balance to the university. You can tell when it comes to visa, you can show you loans, and when you are paying, you can pay through a completely third source if you have one. Right? So,
sir, can it be a combination of bank deposit and loan letter?
It can be a combination of everything. I mean, like I said, all these, whatever is accepted, it can be, say, like suppose you have a 30 lakh loan and you want to show 10-15 lakhs from your account, you can show that.
And loan letter must be in the addressing the university, or
not
to
really.
whom it may concern.
No, it's many times you can't see if you're doing this. If you're getting a loan early, right? Then getting a loan addressed to the university may not work because you may not have finalized the university.
Are this requirement? It is should
no, the university doesn't require that the loan has to be addressed to the university. Okay. Even the bank letters, I would say, don't get it addressed to the university.
Okay.
Okay,
It is not
then you may not be able to send it to multiple universities.
Okay.
So don't get it addressed to anybody. If some banks will again insist whom should we address it to, right? So you tell them address it to yourself. I mean, to tell them in the to address, because I know someone recently went to Axis Bank and then they said whose name should I put? They had to write to address, and I think because it was an online system, the manager there said until I put it, the student called and they said until I put a to address, the system is not letting them print that letter. So in that case, don't put the university's name there. You can, if you are very certain that this is the only university that I am going to send this to and go. But if you don't have, then just put the student's name in the to address, or if not the student's name, whoever bank account it is, you can put their name in the to address.
Mr. Jai, one question. You in the accepted column you have said PPF. Is that EPF is also accepted or it is not?
See, EPF, some universities will accept. Some universities will not even accept provident funds because some universities say that we do not accept retirement funds.
Okay.
But some universities say that they will accept retirement funds if it is clearly mentioned how much is the withdrawable amount in that from that, and what are the restrictions in withdrawing.
I see. Okay.
So let's say you have money in EPF or PPF kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 minute. I'll just put my phone on silent. Yeah. Sorry. So some universities will say that they will absolutely not accept any form of retirement funds in the application. If there is nothing mentioned, right, and say you can get a letter from your EPF, send it. In case the university does not accept it, they will tell you that we can't accept this, send an alternate thing. it does not in any way affect your admissions or anything. So don't worry too much
Right.
about it.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So
Thank you.
okay. Any more questions on this?
Hi, I have a question. For FD, what kind of a document would be required
For
to show
FD.
FD? Yeah.
FD also you will require the same thing. I mean, generally, if you have multiple FDs, then the bank will basically put a table form and give it to you, saying that these are the. But see, any bank letter that you get, right? They will require that the name of the account holder, the type of account number, and the funds available in Indian rupees, and if possible, the bank is willing to write what is the equivalent amount in dollars. That is also something that you can get. Now, even for FDs, it will be the same. But in FDs, generally I recommend that you put tell the bank to put that there are no restrictions or penalties on the withdrawal of funds from this account, or this funds can be withdrawn by them by the account holder at any point without any restrictions. So tell them to put that statement. Because some FDs, at least as long as there is no locking period on your FDs, if they're normal FDs, obviously yes, you can withdraw. But if they're 5 years fixed FDs, which have to be in the bank, I mean, you can't withdraw for the next 5 years or something. Then sometimes that is a problem. So the bank should clearly mention that the above FDs do not have any restrictions on withdrawal.
Sir, one more thing,
Hmm.
please. That FD amount should be get converted into dollars. Is it necessary on the certificate itself?
No, that's what I'm saying. Some banks will write also. Like suppose you have 4 FDs with the bank. If you have savings account with the bank and FDs with the bank, you can get one letter for everything, right?
Okay.
So you can say saving balance is so and so, balance in FDs is so and so. Total amount will be say maybe 35 lakhs. If the bank is willing to write below saying that 35 lakhs INR 35 lakhs is equivalent to say whatever say 45,000 US dollars at today's rate of so and so, that is good. If they are not willing to write that, right? Some banks are very adamant that they'll say we will not write it.
Yes.
So then in that case, you just tell them, okay, don't argue with them, just take that letter. With pencil or pen, you can write on top. With black pencil or black pen, you can write on top, say INR 35 lakhs, or in the number you put, and say equal to USD so and so at the rate of $1 equal to 81 rupees. Okay. That also, if you write with pen on top, that is also absolutely fine. Don't worry too much about it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, one question. If the FDs have a early withdrawal penalty or anything, will that be fine or it won't
that is
work?
fine. See, all FDs have FDs generally don't have early withdrawal penalty. What happens is, say, suppose you have booked an FD for say 2 years with the rate of say 7%, but after 3 months only you go to withdraw it, right? Then they will not pay you interest at 7%. They will charge a penalty on the interest. Your interest will be lesser. They may then pay you at 4% that for the 3-month period, right? So that is how the penalty works. The principal amount, there is no. So suppose if it's a 10 lakh FD, they will never pay you anything less than 10, but they may not pay you at 7% interest for the 3 months. That is how the penalty works on FDs.
So that should also work.
That is also fine, because they will be calculating. I mean, ideally in most cases, right, the principal amount is what they will consider, not with the interest kind of thing, or not the maturity amount.
Yeah, sir, one more question regarding this. Credit society's certificate, if the FDs are kept in Pata Sanstha, that is credit societies, so will that be accepted?
Credit societies are also accepted, but the only thing is that the letters should be issued in English.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But there won't be the bank's name there. So
no, it can be on the credit society's letterhead also.
Okay.
That is okay. That credit society stamp and will also do on that. As long as the word credit society is there, it is accepted. Because credit societies are also accepted forms of financial institutions in the US. In the US also you have credit societies where you can open accounts, and get it done.
So on cooperative banks also accept.
All cooperative banks are also okay. Any cooperative bank is also.
Whether it is advisable that you should have margin for fluctuation of dollar rate.
See, the universities don't require that.
No, what you said, at least it is $1 more than that amount.
No, so suppose you get the letter today, right? And today the bank after conversion has put in the amount of say $45,000. If that letter is mentioned on that listing, right? And maybe you submit that letter 1 month thing, the university will still consider that as $45,000, whatever is printed on that letter.
Okay.
In case it is not written, kind of thing. In case the dollar amount is not mentioned, then generally the universities will consider. Sometimes they will calculate themselves. Right, then they will take the current rate when they receive that letter. Right, even if you're when you're sending that letter, then at that point only you maybe if you're emailing it them today, then maybe, and if you want to write this thing with pen, then you write the current rate, not on the rate on which the letter was printed.
Okay.
Because when they do their calculation, they will also kind of, it will almost match similar to what it is.
Hey Jay, what is an ideal time to apply for a loan if we are going to go for a loan?
Ideal time would be now, this thing. So I'll talk about what you can do to apply for loans. So maybe you can start the process in a day or two. I'll at least start the process. You can then, I'll tell you how to do that. I mean, what would be a faster way to do that? Maybe we'll come to that a little later. But this would be a good time to start working on the loans, so that you have enough time to go around shopping. Okay.
I have a question. Like, if my parents have like balance in multiple bank accounts, so like the number of documents, number of bank statements would increase. So that won't be an issue, right?
Generally, no, it will not increase. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, don't more than between your parents. If they have more than 5-6 accounts, then probably keep it to 5 or 6 letters.
Okay. All right.
You see, otherwise there is no restriction. Sometimes some universities will unnecessarily, because it increases their paperwork, then they do that. But see, now what happens is, now you are going to send them as PDF files.
Yeah.
Right. So what you should do is you combine all them into a single PDF and send it.
Okay.
Okay. Or sometimes many universities will now have the option of uploading that. They will have a form. I mean, in your application form itself, they will, once you have an admit, they will create a provision where you can upload financial documents. So if you are getting letters from say 6 banks, right? So they may not allow you to upload 6 letters, but you will have to combine all 6 into a single PDF and upload it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So like I said, what the universities will require is these. Now, now many times, you know, the word financial affidavit, they use the term financial affidavit, and many times students feel confused that what exactly is a financial affidavit. So the financial affidavit is the university's form. You don't really have to get affidavit from on the stamp paper or go anywhere and get a court stamp paper and type an affidavit on all that. That is not required. Sometimes in the form only there is a small section called financial affidavit, and that section is known as the financial affidavit part of the form. So like I said, every sponsor whose bank letter you are showing will have to sign that as a sponsor. Now, if the funds are in the student's name, the student will not be your own sponsor. So don't put your name in the sponsor. So for example, if all the funds are in your, now there are 2 things that you should also understand. Preferably don't show all the funds in your name, right? Like, unless it's a loan. But say for example, you are supposed to show $50,000. Don't put all the $50,000 or whatever is the equivalent US amount in your bank account and show, because sometimes what happens is, if you show the entire funds in your name, the university will also ask you for funds for second year, because they feel that, I mean, their thought process is this, that if you are showing it from the sponsor, it will be the sponsor's responsibility to arrange for funds for the second year. Although you don't have to show proof for second year, but if you're showing it in the student's name, and entire funds are in the student's name, they will say that because you will be studying at the university and not earning anything, we want to show that we want you to show the funds for the second year also. So that is how it kind of works. It's an odd logic, but that is how it works. So many preferably don't show the entire funds in your name. At least have one more sponsor with you. So it could be like you and parents, or it could be you and one parent. There is no restriction on how you bifurcate these amounts, kind of thing. But let it not be only in the student's name. That is one thing that I would suggest. Again, if there are funds, say 10 lakhs in your name, 10 in mother's name, 10 in father's name, and this is how your bifurcation is, or whatever it is, only parents will be your signing as sponsors. You cannot, in the financial sponsor form, although the money is shown in your name, you are basically not, you are not going to be the sponsor of yourself. The term sponsor means someone is willing to give you their money. If it's your money, there is no, you don't have to ask permission. So sponsorship form is basically a permission saying that the parent is saying that, or whoever, uncle, aunt, or whoever money you are going to show, that I am giving permission for the permission to the student to use my money. That is why the whole concept of sponsor comes. So don't sign yourself as the sponsor. You don't, if it's not really required. Now, if you're showing a loan, what happens is generally all Indian banks, right, will, the loan letter, if you see, they will have your name, the student's name first, and they will also have the parents' name in the loan letter, basically because the parents are going to be the co-signers or co-borrowers of the loan, or whoever is the co-borrower. It could be your brother, sister, or anyone, whoever the bank accepts as the guarantor for the loan. So in that case, and if you're showing, so suppose you have a loan of 45 lakhs sanctioned, right, and you're attaching that loan letter, whoever name comes on that loan letter other than the student will have to sign the sponsor form of the university, because the loan mentions them as the sponsor. Even though you are showing only the loan letter, you will have to do that. So that is something that just remember. If you don't do that, the university will again say that this form is not accepted because the sponsors, as mentioned in your loan letter, have not signed the form. So it'll just they'll make you do that. Not a big issue, but that is how it kind of works. Any questions on this so far?
Yeah, one question from my side. So this bank balance letters, if child has basically got what I say, I'm sorry, I'm searching for that word, a scholarship amount, so it would be minus that?
Yes, it will be minus that.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So because in the form, in the financial form of the university, right, in the sources of funds, they will also ask you where, one of the things is scholarships. So if the student has, let's say, $10,000 scholarship for the first year, and again it will be the scholarship amount, they will consider how much is it for the first year. Like if you have been awarded a $20,000 scholarship, out of which 10 is for first year and 10 is for second, right? Then you can only, they'll only consider the scholarship amount for the first year. But yes, so you will have to add that in the scholarship section, you will have to mention that. So there could be external scholarships also. I mean, in case you have a scholar, although most external scholarships don't make their decisions so early. Like there are some community scholarships and all those. If in case you have, if you're, maybe there are some company scholarships, say, then you can get a letter from that saying that this is the scholarship amount, and you can include that. That can also be part of your financial document. But if the scholarship is from the university, you don't have to. They will verify it internally, or you can, if there is a separate scholarship letter that the university has given, that is all that matters. Then you don't have to do anything extra for that.
Since PhD programs already, pay you actually directly, do you also have to show this proof of finance for PhD? Because
no, you don't have to show the proof of finance if you have a PhD admit and the PhD. So in generally a PhD admit, right? If you're this thing, your PhD admit letter will also mention how much funds have been given. I mean, if you have been given a full tuition waiver, they'll mention that. And if you are being paid a stipend per month, then they will mention the amount of stipend that you have been paid per month and how much is your annual stipend that you will get. If this stipend and this thing is enough to cover the tuition cost, then you will have to show. But if it is not, then you have to show the balance. Like last year, I had a student who and her PhD stipend was falling some $700 or $800 short for the whole year. So she had to show funds of $800 to get the I-20. That is how it works. So you just have to verify what is the university's requirement and how much stipend your department is allotting you. So that is how it is. If it's enough to cover the tuition cost, then you don't have to show anything. But even if it's, like I said, it's a very administrative process. Even if it falls short of a little amount, even $1 short, then you have to show that amount, a bank letter which will show that there is so much money in my account, your sponsor's account.
Right. Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to the. Okay. So coming to the question about what visa, when you actually go for your visa, right? Now, visa officers are not going to look at all these documents. So it, and as I said earlier, if you show, you can show, many times students show personal funds for this thing, but when it comes to visas, they tell them about loans. And visa officers are more, they will be not checking documents, they will be asking you about how do you plan to pay for your education. So of course we will go into the details of visas a little later. I mean, not today, but maybe when the time, maybe sometime after March, April, we start doing sessions on more on visas. But don't worry too much about the funding part of the visa. Visa officers are not really very picky about what documents are accepted. Anything that you want to tell them in terms of finances, as long as it is honest and true, you can tell them. Like say, if you, some people had questions about, can I say EPF is accepted, that is accepted, PPF is accepted. Any financial document that you think you can liquidate and tell them that is accepted as funds for the visa. Again, it need not be the same thing that you have shown to the university. It can be completely different. At that point, I would suggest that in case you have shown funds from a relative or a family friend or something, preferably avoid talking about it during the visa. Generally, visa officers prefer funds either from a loan or from a very close family member. When I say very close family member, it is preferably parents. Grandparents are also okay. Even brothers, sisters and all sometimes are okay, but I would say preferably keep it to restricted to parents. I mean, if parents have money, tell them that parents are going to pay. If you are actually planning to take a loan, definitely talk about the loan. Loan is the one of the safest way to tell the visa officer on how you are going to pay for your education. Again, if you are not taking a loan, don't worry. My recommendation is don't just take the loan for the sake of visa. It really doesn't matter, right? So, but if you are actually taking a loan, don't. I mean, you can definitely talk about the loan process also to the visa officer, so that you don't have to. I mean, and it need not be again the same thing that you have shown to the university. They will not even ask you why did you show funds. Why were you saying that your parents were paying during this thing? If the I-20 will clearly say, right, funds from family, and why are you taking a loan now? You can always explain that. So it means that is not a problem. If you have funds in mutual fund, shares and all that, and you plan to sell that, you can always tell the visa officer that. Any questions so far? I mean, let me see if there are some questions here in the chat thing.
Mr. Jay, what would the visa officer require? Like what amount equivalent to? The university, you said first year fees and first year living.
Right. So there is no, as far as US visas go, there is no guideline, or rather, there is nothing like, this much funds are required. So the visa officer is only going to they just want to get a fair sense of whether as a student you can afford to pay for your entire education.
Okay.
Right? So there, in general, I mean, in most cases in today's day and age, if you have funds somewhere in the range of $50,000 to $60,000, given that the dollar rate is around 80, sorry, 50 to 60 lakhs, not 50 to $60,000, 50 to 60 lakhs of rupees available with you, which are easily available to you. When I say easily, in the sense, which are like, in forms of loans or PF or PPF or any kind of easily liquidable investments, I think that should be more than sufficient to get your visa. So if you have around 60 lakhs of funds of liquidity in any form of financial investment, including the loan, I think that should be sufficient. You need not worry too much about the finances part of it. Of course, as a parent and as a student, you also have to think of how will you actually pay for your education. See, because telling the university, showing the visa officer and all that, you can always tell them that, right? But when it comes to paying to the university, you have to actually pay the money. There you can't just pretend to have money, right? And the universities really don't bother where the money is coming from. Like if you have a friend in the US or some third person anywhere around the world wants to pay that money to the university, they are absolutely okay with it. They just give you, this is the amount that you have to pay and this is the due date. As long as your payments are made by anybody in your account, it is absolutely okay. But visa officers will only see that as a family, can you easily afford 60 lakhs? I'm just giving you that number. In most cases, that is the thing. If you are really falling short of showing up to 60 lakhs, including the loan I'm talking about, then it could be a little bit of a concern. Unless, in many times, what happens is they will also ask you, they only ask what is your parents' annual income. And if that is good enough, they don't even get into the details of what are your finances, how much money you have and all that. So either your parents should have a very strong income, strong in the sense you are looking at least a total annual income of around 15 lakhs and above. But if your parents' income total, I mean, I'm talking about both parents' annual income is less than say 10 lakhs or so, then at least you make sure that as long as you have the funds available in your savings, loans and all that, so loan becomes a very strong case in that, in such cases. So make sure that your loan is sanctioned and you have a loan letter. I think someone here had put a question, what is the amount of loan that you should get sanctioned? So in general, I think around, if you're looking at loans in India, around 50 lakhs of loan should be good enough, sort of thing. But if you're going to use at least have 10 lakhs from your side to pay for your education, then I think 50 lakhs of education loan should be good enough. If you really don't want to put in anything from your parent side or your personal money, I would say get as high as possible as loans. Loans nowadays, banks give up to 75 lakhs. If your profile is good, you can even get unsecured loans of around 65 to 70 lakhs. Without any collateral, you can get that. So,
one more thing, Mr. Jay. Can we fill Y20 forms too? Or
you can fill multiple. I mean, there are many forms you can fill for I-20.
Okay.
You don't have, it need not be just one single form.
Okay. Okay.
So you can send your I-20 requests to 5 universities, get all your 5 I-20s and then decide which one to go. There is no restriction that you have to only do it for one. So these are some questions. I think most of these are covered. But
sir, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Can I come?
Go ahead.
To get the I-20, we have to pay the admission charges.
No, see, that depends on the university. Some universities will require it, some don't.
Okay.
And
to
it
secure
is not
the seat.
Get the I-20. So some universities have say they will ask you some money, which can range anywhere between $100 to $500 to confirm your seat. So ideally, that money is not to basically get the I-20. That money is to confirm your seat in that university. Some universities don't ask you that money, and until you confirm your seat or accept your offer, they will not issue the I-20. So say suppose 3 universities require you accept the offer and they have not asked you for any money, then sorry, if you send them the financial documents, they will issue the I-20.
Okay.
But if one university requires that you have to pay that deposit to confirm your seat, then until you do that, they will not issue the I-20.
Any chances of getting back the admission fee if we decide to
that
switch
is
for
a
any
non-refundable security, non-refundable deposit in all cases.
Okay.
It will get adjusted in your fees, kind of, but that is all. It will not be refunded.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
For I-20, which financial documents we have to show?
For I-20, like I think we covered that in the earlier screen. You will have to show either bank loans, bank letters, balance certificates against savings, FDs. That is what generally mostly you will sure to show.
Okay.
Okay.
That means PF is not allowed in
PF
I-20.
is generally not allowed in most universities will not accept PF in the I-20 for the I-20.
Okay, thank you.
So I think how to process the loan amount taken for shots. No, Abhijit, I think you have a question here. How to proceed if the loan amount taken falls short of tuition plus living expenses for both the years? Now, when you say fall short, in the sense, what exactly do you mean by that? Abhijit, are you there? Abhijit Sharma. Abhijit GS.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hello.
So what I meant is if I take a loan amount of 50 lakh rupees from the bank, and when I go there and after, calculating my 2 years expense, including my tuition, living cost, insurance and all, if I get an expense of more than 50 lakh rupees.
Okay. So see, there
and
is
50
nothing.
lakh rupees is my total.
Okay, so that's what I mean. Before you basically apply for a loan, or even before you actually start planning on your funds part of it, right? You should get a fair sense of how much it is going to cost you to study, right? So if your loan amount is, if you think that your estimated cost of tuition plus living is going to be 60 lakhs for the entire program, all right, assuming that you get no scholarships, no funding kind of thing, then I would recommend applying for a higher loan amount. And if loan is the only source of funds that you have, right, so make sure that, okay, if your estimated cost for the next 2 years is going to be 60 lakhs, then make sure there is provision for 60 lakhs. If you're taking only a 50 lakh, either you take the higher loan amount. See, the loan is only a sanction. I mean, this is one thing that most of you might should know, that if you take 75 lakhs ka loan, you will not be paying interest on the 75 lakhs. You will be paying interest only on the amount you withdraw. Of course, yes, many times many banks will charge you a processing fee, which will be based on, say, suppose there is a 1% processing fee, right? So if you take a 50 lakh loan versus you take a 75 lakh loan, ideally you will pay a 25,000 extra processing fee, because for the 25 lakh extra loan, you might pay 25,000 extra as processing fee, if 1% is the processing fee of the loan. If there is no, some banks like, Bank of Baroda and all that, they don't charge processing fee which is related to your loan amount. So they have it in slabs. Any loan more than 40 lakhs, they'll charge you the same amount. So in that case, I would say get the maximum loan that you can get sanctioned. Even otherwise, I generally recommend to save on that 10, 15 or 20,000 whatever rupees. Don't just reduce your loan amount because if you think that this loan is the only thing that I'm going to be dependent on and I'll need the entire 60 lakhs or 70 lakhs in the worst case scenario, then just get the maximum loan sanctioned. Say get a loan of 70 lakhs sanctioned. Eventually, after you go there, you get student jobs, you get assistantships, and you don't need the money, you don't withdraw from that loan account. Right? So in the over the next 2 years, if you say withdraw only 40 lakhs out of that 70 lakh loan sanction, you will pay the bank only interest on that 40 lakhs. So that whatever extra amount has been sanctioned and not used is just not used. It is not going to cost you anything extra to do that. So just to be on the safer side, get the maximum possible that you think you will need. But if you know that, okay, I need only 40 lakh loan because my parents have 30 lakhs that I can use in the worst case scenario, then you don't need to really get a very high sanction loan. You can just get 40 lakhs so that you can save on that processing fee. But don't ever be in a situation where you run out of money in the middle of your masters.
Sir, bank may be estimating how much you may be required. The fees are
banks
definite,
don't
but
estimate. Banks will go by the I-20 document. So that they have
about
upper
living
limit.
expenses.
No. So they will see. Banks will estimate on the they will calculate. Say suppose they will calculate. One is of course on the basis of your tuition, and whatever is mentioned on the I-20. Right? And second thing, they will calculate if you are taking a secured loan, right? Then they will also do a valuation of your property and what is the maximum value. Say suppose your property value is say 50 lakhs, then they will give you a maximum loan of 40 lakhs.
Yeah.
Up to 80 to 85% of the property. But if your property value is 1 crore, then they will also have their own internal limit, right? Say if their internal limit is say 45 lakhs, then they will give you a loan of maximum 45 lakhs. Right? So that is there. But if like say Bank of Baroda goes up to 75 lakhs, even Saraswat Bank or even HDFC and IDBI Bank, they go up to 75 lakhs of education. So if you are eligible for 75 lakhs, the question is whether you should get 75 lakhs sanction or you should get a lesser amount sanction. So that is something that would be on an individual case to case basis.
Bank is not restricting as such.
Bank will not restrict.
So you said that we can start processing the loan letter now onwards.
Yeah.
So they will ask for the letter from university, no?
No, many banks will not do that. At least some banks might.
But some document they will require, na, from the university.
No, actually, I'll tell you how the bank. What happens now is that they will not give you. Like they only do a pre-sanction kind of thing. In the sense, they will give you what is your eligibility for the loan.
No, even for pre-sanction letter, some document they will require. Na, what is that document? I'm asking.
See, it depends on the bank. If you go to individual banks, they will generally ask you for that. But there are, say what happens is, what I would suggest is that, like say HDFC Credila for that matter, or IDBI Bank and all that, they will not require any document from the university to give
Means
you the
you have
loan.
to go and just ask for the foreign university, we need a loan.
Yes,
like
I want a foreign university education loan, and they will do. They will ask you things like two things that you will have to understand. One is whether you want a collateral based loan or you want a non-collateral based loan. Collateral is where you are going to keep some property or something as a security with the bank.
Okay.
Okay. If you say I want a collateral based loan, then they will ask you for all the documents of the collateral. And of course, even otherwise, they will ask you who is the co-borrower. I think somebody, I think here I had a question, what is the difference between co-borrower and co-applicant? It's the same. There is no difference between co-borrower and co-applicant are the same. Okay. So, so now again, I think somebody has put in here that HDFC Credila needs admission letter. No, HDFC Credila doesn't need any admission letter for the loan sanction. If you are still unsure, I can give you a contact person in HDFC Credila and you can talk to them and they will give you a loan sanction letter right up front. Because many students use it for getting their I-20.
I did connected with HDFC Credila executive, so I got the list of document which is needed, and one of the document is the apart from score sheets, etc., for TOEFL and GRE, they have requested for the admission letter.
No, generally they don't. I mean, I know because that is what HDFC Credila's whole business strategy is, to give students loan letters early in the admission process, just so that they can capture that student. That is their whole policy. In case you still want that HDFC Credila letter, I can connect you with someone and they will get. Of course, they'll need all the other documents of the student and parents also, but not the admit letter.
Okay. No, the list I received is the admit letter, but thanks a lot. I mean, then I will need the connect from you. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in my case, I have applied for the HDFC Credila education loan. They have sanctioned it with just the admit letter, but we have not accepted the admit yet. They have given the this thing pre-approved loan sort of, but they are not ready to negotiate the interest rate as well as the processing charges unless we give them the I-20. So exactly like when should we contact the banks to negotiate for processing charges and rate of interest when we keep a collateral for the loan? So just guide on that.
Do that. I don't know whom you are in touch with HDFC Credila, but I had shared one contact with. How much are the processing fees are they charging you?
Now initially they said that it will be 1.5% of the loan amount. Now they are saying it's 1%. But interest rate, they have not saying any particular for a collateral loan. It will be more than 10.5. I have
generally it should, if it's a collateral loan, ideally it should be less than, it should be around 9.5 or something in that range.
Yeah, but that has to be negotiated.
Yeah, you will have to negotiate on that.
And that negotiation has to be done after getting the I-20 or so, or what? I mean,
no, so see,
because once we get I-20 and once we start negotiating with the bank, like if we get the loan sanctioned with the I-20, then there is no question of, negotiating for the loan rate and all that.
Right. No. So because in that case, what will happen is to get that. What Credila will do is that. First of all, to get that I-20, you will need a letter from Credila, which will say that this is the amount on that. But for that, they will ask you to pay the processing fee.
Yes.
Yes. Now, after that also, yes, you can negotiate with them on the rate, on the interest rate. But generally, then, you have already paid the processing fee. So you will have little options. Your options will be less.
Yes.
Others, if you decide to go at that point to go with another bank, then you might have then
the whole processing charges what
will be
you have paid will be like waste of money then.
Correct, right. So what I would suggest is you just hold on. There is no hurry to get that letter from HDFC Credila, and this is for everybody. I will also send you a link where you can start the process. There is this company called Foreign Admits. Okay. What Foreign Admits does is that they are more of aggregators for loans. In the sense, you fill up the applications and basically they will on their screen itself kind of in many cases, if everything paperwork is clear, they'll tell you what is the eligibility that you have, maximum eligibility. And then you can go and select that, okay, I want to submit my documents to so-and-so. I want quotes of loans from so-and-so banks. So once you select that, okay, I want quote from SBI, I want quote from IDBI or whatever, they have almost 20 banks with them. So then you can start getting quotes and then you will be in a better position to compare. Also, they will help you negotiate with the banks also on the interest rates. So sometimes, because they do so much volume, you can probably tell them to negotiate, and you can always say that you can also see, for example, you have an HDFC letter, right? You can take that to IDFC, who has now recently started, and tell them, see, this is what HDFC is offering me. I want something better than this. You can do that personally also. You can tell these, there is a contact person that will be assigned to you from Foreign Admit. You can do that also. I'll share the link where you can go and register, and then then that will give you options. And with HDFC Credila also, I will share a personal contact of one person. You can directly talk to him. I don't know. I had shared it already with most of the students. So I don't know if you have contacted the same person.
You had given me the number also. Yes.
Amit Melekar is his name.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you are alone, you have actually spoken to Amit. I'll probably also talk. Maybe just get in touch with me after the webinar. Maybe tomorrow we'll specifically talk to Amit.
Before that, unfortunately, before talking to Mr. Amit, I had already applied for HDFC Credila through my bank, HDFC Bank. So he's saying that he will not be in a position to, guide me since the case has already been.
Because what happens is generally when you there is one person who gets assigned from HDFC Credila to the loan. I mean, there will be a loan manager who will be assigned. So if you have already gone through your bank, then it will be that person. But we can still try. I mean, we can still look at other options. I'll just talk to him and ask him at least what is the best option that we can get, and we'll see what can be done. Okay.
Sir, are you going to share the link in our Telegram channel?
I will try to. Yeah, I'll put it on WhatsApp also, individually. I'll put it on the Telegram channel also.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but I'll individually WhatsApp you also. You will get a broadcast message from me saying.
Okay,
that,
thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any further questions that you have about the whole financial loan?
Whether foreign admits charges any fees or something?
No. None of these people, they don't charge you any fees or any kind of processing fee or any kind of thing. So it is a free service.
Okay.
They have other services also. Some of them are now when you as a student, if you log into the foreign admits website, they have other services also like forex, tickets and all that, accommodation assistance and all that. Some of them are free, some of them are not free. The loan thing is definitely free. Their loan and forex services are something that I recommend. Others, I generally would say don't. I mean, you have that is again your call whether you want to take those services. You can, but you need not go ahead with the other services. Some of them are not free, but they'll clearly tell you that what is the. I mean, of course, if there is a paid service, then they will tell you that unless you pay that amount, you won't. They won't. But for loans and forex, also another thing that most people just something for information's sake. At some point, right? I mean, just remember this. When you have taken a loan, you many times for example, you take a loan from HDFC Credila, right? What HDFC Credila will tell you is that to send this money to the US university, you will have to use forex by HDFC Bank. Now that is actually not true. You have as a consumer, you have the choice of using any forex service. So many times, HDFC Bank will try to make a little higher margin on your forex transactions also. So this is something that you should remember, that you need not use the same forex service of your bank where you're taking the loan or where you have the money from. Say for example, you are paying from your personal funds also. Your money is with Axis Bank. You can use any other forex service for transferring that money to the US university or to pay to a US bank account. You need not use your bank's individual forex service also. Generally, the private forexes like Ebix Forex and Thomas Cook was good, but they stopped it now. I mean, they are out of business. I think the forex division is closed, but there are other forex services which are more cheaper. I mean, even if it is like a 20 paisa difference, right? When you are transferring 10 lakhs, that might be a 20,000 rupees ka saving that you might get. So generally, the forex rates you will have to see which ones are offering you the best option, and then you can do that. But many times, people are not aware of this, and they try to use the same bank's forex service where the money is, and generally you might end up, because it is going to be a bigger amount, 10 to 15 lakhs. Your first forex transaction for fees and living might be that amount. Even like a 10 paisa difference in the dollar rate that you get might make a big difference at that moment. So just remember this. Of course, we'll talk about forex options at a later stage. But yes, as an individual, you are free to use any forex. It is not that there is any problem in there. It's not that it's not safe. It's just the rates are different. That's the only thing. I think someone is raising a hand here.
Yeah. So, Jay sir, can I show the valuation of my current shares in financial affidavit?
To the university, many universities may not accept shares.
Okay.
Okay, but to the visa officer, you can always show. You don't need to need a valuation. A simple print of your Demat account statement is also okay.
Got it. Thank you.
I think Divya, you have a question. If you're taking a non-collateral loan, do we still need to someone to sign as a co-applicant? See, for non-collateral loan, there are only you will definitely need a co-applicant, right? Because if you're taking a non-collateral loan, there has to be a parent who will sign as a co-applicant, because then the complete onus of the loan has to be on the parent, because you will not be in India. So someone should be here responsible for that loan in case you decide not to pay in that case. So that's why the bank will ask you for a co-applicant, and the co-applicant should be preferably parents.
Okay, and do we have to also submit their documents like ITR or anything else?
Yes, the banks will generally ask you for parents' ITR also. And they will also be doing a credit history check on the co-applicants.
Okay.
Also, see, now there are three kinds of loans. One is a collateral-based loan with the banks, where you have to keep some collateral. Others are non-collateral loans. And only some of the private lenders go for give you non-collateral loans. Like there is HDFC Credila who will give non-collateral. Then there is Avance. Now there is a new company called Kuhu and all that. But generally, non-collateral loan rates are slightly higher than at least 1 to 2% more than what you can get in a collateral-based loan. Amongst all the NBFCs that provide non-collateral loan, HDFC Credila is the only one where parents can claim tax benefit. I mean, the interest that you pay on the loan, if you want to claim tax exemptions on that, only HDFC Credila's loan falls under that category. Of course, all banks' loans you will get tax exemption if a bank is giving you a loan. If it is a non-banking institution, then only HDFC Credila's loan will give you tax exemption. Other private players like Avance, Kuhu, maybe whatever, there are a few others, they will not basically give you any tax benefits. Okay. The third type of loans are by these companies called Prodigy Finance, Empower, and Leap Finance. These institutions give you loans in US dollars. Prodigy does not need any co-signer or co-borrower. Prodigy has a list of say 300, 400 universities on their website. If your university happens to be university and the program or the department that you are applying to happens to be on that list, they will give you a loan. It is as simple as that.
Sir, I have a question on that. So, let's say the university that I'm going to go for is listed in Prodigy.
Yeah.
But the program isn't. So, is there a chance that we can email them and check if they can still fund the program?
But in the past, I had a student, it didn't work with him. Because what happened was the student, he was going to UMass Lowell. UMass Lowell, they have listed the engineering school on the website, but the department of his program was for computer science, and computer science is not offered by the engineering school at Lowell, it is offered by a school of computing. So that was not listed, and Prodigy refused to give him a loan on that. And that thing went on for almost 3-4 months. Finally, he decided not to go to Lowell because of this reason and chose another, of course, he got a better admit, that's a different story altogether, but yes. But that never worked out. So you can always try, but there is, in the past, this was of course in 2019, this thing happened, but I don't know now if they have changed some things and they might be willing to consider. But go ahead and give it a try if you really want a loan from Prodigy. Other options are Empower Financing and Leap Finance. Again, they both have, Leap currently still last year had some restrictions in terms of some states where they were not allowed to give loans. So, and one of the major states in that was California. Others were actually very small states, but one of the bigger states where you could not take a loan from Leap was for California. So if your university is first from California, then they could not give you a loan because of they didn't have the license to sanction loans in that particular state. Try Empower also. Empower Financing also had a problem where they had a maximum limit of $25,000 per year as the loan limit, which was very small, but recently they have increased it. So that can also be an option that you can consider.
Sir, what are the pros and cons for going for these foreign loan lenders like Prodigy
So
and
Prodigy, the only advantage is that they don't need any kind of co-signer, co-borrower. But eventually, of course, their dollar loan rates are somewhere in the 8 to 9%. It is not very expensive, but compared to other US loans, they are slightly expensive. They charge a 5% processing fee also, just that they don't take the processing fee upfront. It just gets added to your loan amount. Say for first semester, if you're borrowing $20,000, so effectively what they will do is they will say $20,000 is the borrowed amount plus 5% processing fee. So that is how they will. So they will add that much to $2,000 or whatever, or sorry, not $1,000. So effectively, your loan will say they'll say $21,000 is the loan amount. That is how they'll do, and they'll start interest on that. The disadvantage of the US loan is that, of course, as parents, you will not you cannot claim any tax benefits on that. I don't know whether this will be a disadvantage or an advantage, but in some cases, if the parents don't want to make any payments towards this education or can't afford to make any payments, the Prodigy loan becomes very handy because you are not expected to pay any. You're not expected to pay interest or any kind of thing while you're studying. So you can directly start your payments after 2 years. Sometimes there might be a small $50 per month kind of a payment, but not more than that.
So I had a question regarding that only. After in India, of course, if I take a loan from Credila or some Indian institution, after the disbursement of the loan, when does the EMI actually start?
See, there are two options that most banks will give you. One is you can pay at a simple interest rate for the time that the student is studying at the university. That is for up to 2 years you can use that. So you are only paying, say, suppose first semester you borrowed 10 lakhs, you can only pay the interest on that 10 lakhs. Second semester you borrowed another 10, then you are basically paying the 20 lakh interest for the first year on a monthly basis. After the student has graduated, you can then tell the bank to start the EMI, saying that I will not need any further money from the loan amount. Then the EMI starts.
Okay, so that has to be negotiated with the respective banks, right?
Yes, some banks will make it. Some banks, if you say that I don't want to pay anything, right? Then in that case, that interest gets compounded.
Okay, understood.
With Prodigy, of course, the interest will get compounded, but it at least gives you the option, at least for those students who really don't have the bandwidth to make those payments while they are studying. That is a good option.
Okay, thanks.
And also, what happens is the bigger advantage that most people who borrow from Indian banks or borrow in Indian rupees is that eventually when the dollar rises, and it has traditionally always, the dollar has always gone up only. I have not seen any time that, if you see, the dollar has never decreased so much. So now it is at 80, but maybe 2 years later, if it touches 90 kind of thing, you can, and if you are actually using the money that you earn in dollars to pay off the loan, then you are at an advantage because for the same amount of Indian rupees, you will have to spend less dollars to pay off the loan. So, whereas if your loan is in dollars and you're paying off in dollars, you don't get any benefit by the dollar rupee exchange rate.
Okay, one question related to that only. So, if I have to claim the tax benefit in my organization, the loan has to be in my name only, or it has to be like a co-borrower?
No, it will be a co-borrower. It cannot be in your name only because you will always, as a parent, will always be the co-borrower.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Hello, Jay. Do you also have a contact details of anyone from this Empower or Prodigy?
I can try to send you that, or like I said, if you basically do it on foreign admits, because Prodigy generally doesn't have representatives in India. They are an online company only. They don't have. I think they have an office in Bangalore, and that's the only office that they have. So they don't have reps like in India, regional wise. So. But if you do it basically on foreign admits, I can send you that link and you say, I want to go for the Prodigy loan. They will basically then put you in touch and someone will contact you.
Okay, thanks.
But you can always look at that options also. I mean, in case. But like I said, you can always check all your, for everybody. Of course, this is get all your options, see which ones are working out for you, and then you can take a final call on that.
Sir,
yeah, Neeraj, tell me something.
Yeah, so yes, sir. To what extent is it recommended to add siblings as co-applicant in a loan, in non-collateral loan?
I mean, it is your choice. Whom to add as a co-applicant has got nothing to do with the university visa or anything.
Okay.
If you think that the bank needs a co-applicant and adding a sibling will make your case stronger, and your sibling is ready to do that, go ahead and do that.
Okay, so it will not create any roadblock during the visa process, right?
No. Adding a co-applicant on the loan is not, whoever is willing to do that, I mean, be your co-applicant is absolutely fine.
Okay, thank you, sir.
It will not be a problem.
Sir, as I heard, even if you don't pay interest and it is getting accumulated, it should be a simple interest and should not be compound interest. Is that?
If you are making payments every month, it is going to be, they will charge you on a simple interest basis. But
that is definitely. But in case you are not paying interest, it should not be.
So it is generally they will charge you. It will be compounded. Any further questions?
Yes, this simple interest is like this is for non-collateral or collateral?
No, it doesn't matter. It is from if it is from a bank in India or HDFC, then that is how it is. Whether they will at that moment they will not see whether it is collateral or non-collateral.
Collateral or non-collateral just like affects the interest rates. Right?
It affects the interest rates and the amount that they can sanction. That is the only thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one hypothetical question, like if I receive an early admit and I get my I-20 and get my visa processed, and then I decide to go to some other university, is the visa university?
No, so yes, visa is university specific. The name of the university will be printed on the visa. Of course, in that case, you will have to either reappear for your visa interview again with the new I-20 and go. Alternatively, there is a process of going to the US and then doing a transfer out from this university where you have been admitted and transfer into another university. But there is always a risk there, because if the process doesn't happen on time, then you will miss the thing. So, I mean, yes, we'll discuss more about all that during the visa application sessions. But don't, I mean, I would say avoid doing that.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody would fall in that situation unless your admits come, maybe one particular university admit comes very late. Given the current situation, your visa dates will not be before June. And by then, I think all your decisions will be out.
Okay.
So you can say what you can do, and this is something that, of course, we'll talk more in detail. You have an I-20 today, right? And say you see June dates are available. You can book a visa date with this I-20 for say 15th June, and say your next admit comes maybe by May. You can always change the university name in the visa application, or when you appear for the visa, you can appear with the new I-20. So you can do that, but not after your visa has been stamped on the passport. If you decide to change the university, you can do that, but you will have to appear for the visa interview again.
Okay, got it.
Now, Mr. Jay, you said visa. Okay, details you will be speaking later. But how does this is affecting us? Like it is said, ki for US applications now the appointment date is 638 days later.
No, so that doesn't apply to 638 days later. Means nobody can study only.
Okay, that is for B1, B2. It was written in the news.
No, student visas everybody gets a date, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
That whatever news you are seeing is for B1, B2 visas, which are tourist visas.
Acha, okay, not for student.
Student visas you will get it. So
okay, thank you.
Sir,
Sir,
Sir, can we wait
apply for
up to March
You can
for
wait
accepting?
up to see. Generally, most universities will have a deadline of April 15th to accept your offers, and I would say till that point you can safely wait.
Okay, sir.
Beyond that, also, if you want to wait, you can wait, but I would say at least accept one offer by April 15th and keep. If you have multiple offers and you're still waiting beyond April 15th, at least accept something and keep, is what I would say.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, we can always accept, right? If we can decide not to pay the deposit until April 15, but we can accept it, right?
Again, it depends on the university's policy, right? In the offer letter, if they have, many times what will happen is if the university wants a deposit, they will have, and they say to accept the offer. For example, I mean, some students might hear who are here. They have an offer from Arizona State University for the business analytics program, and it is mentioned in their offer letter to accept this offer, you have to pay a $300 deposit by, or 300 or 500, whatever it is, by 26th of February. So you can't accept it and not pay. I mean, when you go to accept, until you pay, that process will not complete only. So very few universities will have that option where you accept and then not pay. That doesn't happen in US universities in most cases.
Okay. Yeah.
Where acceptance and payments are two different dates. UK universities have that option, but US don't.
Okay, yeah.
Sir, to appear before the visa officers or to get the appointment for the visa, I-20 is the required document.
Yeah, you will need at least one I-20 to get the...
Yeah, I-20.
Yes.
But the student has to pass all the 8 semesters in his engineering
you don't have to
career.
pass all your 8 semesters. Your 8 semester, if you are still in the, student is still in the final year, ideally your 8, you can appear even before your 8 semester exams. Say suppose you have a admit and say May 1st week date is, you are seeing that a May 1st week date is available and your university exams are starting May last week, you just go ahead and appear for the visa entry. You don't need to pass. I can guaranteedly tell you that you, by the time you appear for your visa, 8 semester students who are still in the final year, results will not be declared. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
Because results mostly will come, most universities results come by June, July end sort of. By then your visa should be done.
Okay. And for how many months one can go to apply for visa? Like, is there any?
4 months before the start of your program. Actually, it is 120 days before the start of your program. Most programs will have their official starting date. The I-20 will mention the official starting date, which will be somewhere in the 15th to end of August. As your official starting date will be in that time. So by 15th to end of April is the earliest by which you can apply for the visa.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Is it required to pay the processing fee for getting the sanction letter?
Yes. To get the final sanction letter, all banks will ask you for the processing fee.
No, provisional sanction letter, suppose. Or they will.
No, so what happens is provisional sanction letter, what they do is, right, they will send you an email only. Or some banks like IDFC and this thing, they have an app. Even HDFC Credila will tell you to download that app where it will tell you the status of your loan. So there it will say that sometimes, if you don't even get the, download the app, they will generally send you an email, or sometimes they'll call you and tell you that we have sanctioned a loan of say 30 lakh, 40 lakhs. So this is the thing. Or it will come as an email, but they will not give you a printed letter on the letterhead until you pay the processing fee.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
For I-20 also, we have to show the entire amount because till now we have not finalized the university, no?
You have to show funds for 1 year of tuition and 1 year of living.
So from where we can get the living charges costs?
It is generally mentioned on the university's I-20 form only.
Acha, then we have to get the I-20 form first.
I-20 form, I-20 application form is something that you can download from the university's website.
Okay.
So it is not a form as such. It's just a general letter saying that this is general information is available on the university's website. What is going to be your estimated cost of study? They will mention 1 year tuition is so much and 1 year this thing. Generally, along with the admit letter, they will send you these details also.
Okay. There is no need to then pay their fees, no? Before we accept the university.
No, so fees for every university will be paid in the month of August after you reach the university.
Achha. Okay.
So you don't have to pay the fees to any university now at this moment. Even if you accept, even some universities might ask you for a confirmation fee, which will be a small amount, anywhere between $100 to $500. The actual tuition fee to the university will be paid after you register and go to the university, which will happen sometime in August.
Okay.
And as far as living costs are concerned, that is not something that you have to pay to the university. That is the amount that they give you an estimate of how much you might spend on your living. Again, how much you spend is actually up to you. Where you live, what kind of accommodation you prefer, what food you want to eat. All that is your individual thing. Generally, there is an estimate on how much you should be prepared for, but again, it depends completely on the student. There is no limit, or university is not going to ask you any money for that.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Are the fee payments yearly or semester wise?
Fees are semester wise.
Okay.
So the first time when you pay, you will be only paying for the fall semester fees, not for anything later.
Okay.
So for SBI Bank, for an education loan, they start the process only after giving they are demanding for the this authority, not authority, it's affidavit, sort of affidavit given by the parents, like we are not applying for any other bank or any loan is, we are not availing any other loan.
So
then only they are.
See, what happens is, most of these banks, especially the Indian banks, and SBI was very, their rules change from branch to branch, very honestly.
Okay.
So sometimes, that's the reason why I generally prefer these kind of aggregator websites where you don't have to visit the branch, and especially if you go with one of these private lenders, right? Even if you do it over the phone or any branch you approach or any person you talk to, there you'll find consistency. But with banks, sometimes if the bank officer is a bank manager is very friendly, they will do anything for you, and sometimes they'll create so many problems also. So my experience with these banks is, although very honestly, I think SBI, Bank of Baroda, and Union Bank have the best have the best loan products. If you look at it, right? So if someone asks me if you are getting a loan from one of these banks, I would say these can be your first choices. Of course, you need to have collateral with them, but sometimes dealing with this bank, and again it depends on the bank manager at that moment where you stay, becomes a little tedious. So I would say work with an aggregator there, because Union Bank charges almost no processing fee also to give you the loan. Bank of Baroda processing fees and even SBI fees are very less. It was something like till last year it was hardly 10,000 rupees for the whatever be the amount, kind of thing. But that's the thing, sometimes the branch managers are so not, because what happens is at the branch, right, education loan may not be their priority. Whereas if you look at companies like HDFC Credila, their whole business is only education loan. So for these, many times at the branch level, education loan is like some side product that they are not very keen in selling. Maybe house loan is there. They want to spend more time on housing loans or business loans and all that. So education loan is more of a neglected product in many banks. But at the corporate level, because when you work with an aggregator, things happen directly at the loan department at the back end. So you don't have to deal with these bank people, and then the process becomes a little more smoother. I'm hoping again, but still with banks you might have to face some problem. Bank of Maharashtra, I think, is also has a very good. See, Bank of Maharashtra and Saraswat Bank also have started a very good education loan products last year. I mean, they've revised their this thing. So those are two additional banks that you can actually look at. But I don't know their. Generally, most banks will have rate of interest rates around the 9%, 8.5 to 9. Now it might be a little more because again, FD rates have also increased, loan rates have also increased. So, but still, it will still be cheaper than most of the private lenders. Most banks will be cheap.
And it is it like for visa process, like it does different banks documentations, like is there any bank which has like good documentation and we will not have any issues while the visa processing
It
or
doesn't
something?
matter. Any bank loan, any bank, wherever bank you have money, visas are not going to be based on documents. So the visa officer is not going to look at your documents. So don't worry about that. But yes, it does not make any difference where your loan is from, at least when it comes to visas. US visas, US visa offices, consulates accept, they accept any kind of financial document. There are restrictions with UK, Canada on which banks are accepted and which banks are not. So if you are looking at, someone here is looking for an education. Most of you are US students only, but if you are looking at UK or any other Canadian visa application, then yes, the name of the bank matters because they have a list of approved banks from which you can either have money or loans. But with this thing, it doesn't matter. US, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay.
So 3 banks name you said was Bank of Baroda, Union Bank, and third was
State Bank, SBI.
State Bank, SBI. Okay.
And again, Bank of Maharashtra and Saraswat Bank.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, last thing I think I'll probably cover is if you have funds in the US, if you have a sibling or a parent or uncle in the US, you can show funds from the US also to the universities. If they are your parents, you can show them during the visa also. But if they are your siblings, so maybe a brother or sister is currently in the US, you can show their funds for the university to get an I-20. But when it comes to the visa officer, don't say that the brother sister is going to completely 100% pay for your education. At that moment, you should also preferably bring your parents. Say that my parents are also primarily paying, and if required, my brother or sister can also sponsor. But don't just say that my brother or sister who is in the US is going to completely pay for my entire expense for education and this thing. So, of course, in case there is someone who is in that situation, we'll discuss that on a case-to-case basis. But just a thought, in case you know someone or you have a sibling in the US and you want to show their funds for getting the I-20, you can do that also. Okay, with that, if there are any last questions, I'll take that, otherwise we'll end the session.
Whether next meeting will be there for some accommodation guidance counseling?
Accommodation and all, I think I do. But I would say before that, students, once you finalize the university, students manage to find their own accommodation. They don't need. But yes, the next sessions will be maybe more on the finances and visas only. And then sometime, because students will be actually going in the month of late July, early August is when you will be traveling. So sometime around June, July, I will be doing some sessions on pre-departure related issues, like talking about insurance, forex, after going their bank accounts, your credit cards and other things that you need to know. Not something which is going to be really, I'll be anyway discussing that, but not something which is very important. Students manage to figure those out always. But yes, we'll do some more sessions in the coming months.
Thank you, sir.
I'll also trying to see if I can do some sessions on, especially for students, on jobs and internship opportunities, where I'm trying to invite some current students who are studying in the US to do some sessions kind of thing. So that might also be some things that maybe will happen in the coming months. So any last minute questions, or I'll resend the PDF on financial documents, which I had already. It should be there in your email. One of the very initial emails I had sent you should have those documents, but I'll anyway send it again on WhatsApp. And I'll send you the link to where you can actually start how do you start, and little tips on your loan processing. Okay. Okay, then with that, I have tried to record this meeting actually. I'll also share the recording of this in case someone wants to refer it, or especially there were some requests from those who could not attend to record it. So I hope it's been recorded, and I'll share that also. So then, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.